So let me go into a little further step on the lab and homework one. After you log in, of course, you go to your lab and homework folder down here, and that's how you look at the cookie menu. This is how it's broken down to two separate categories with it. The category I like to talk to you about is the folder called Program Logic and Design 9th edition with Joyce Farrell. This exercise, this flowchart exercise is worth 20 points, this right here. So click on it. It would give you a download. I'm using Firefox, and it's a Word document. This is what the document looks like once you download it in the upper right-hand corner. And please click on it, open it, and it looks like this. This is in Microsoft Word. Please click Edit to enable. The first thing you need to do is, of course, go through this document and read it because it's a it's a fairly lengthy, detailed document about flowcharts with it, and it's supposed to complement with your Farrell exercise that you're going to be talking about with it. Read through this. Like I said, I spent some time putting this together with it. I like for you, first thing is make sure you complete your name on this document for me. Alright, this is the document, then you're going to save this document. You're going to upload this document back to me, return this document to me in the eCampus with it, and I'll show you where that is in a second with it. So let's say you finish this document. We're going to go back to this document in a second. You're going to go to Lab and Homework, submit here, submit Lab and Homework here, submit Lab and Homework. You're going to actually, this link right here is the same document I put up there as well. You got to complete this before this due date, by the way. So you see where it says Lab and Homework Submit here. You click on that link. You would navigate to where that link is found. Now you got to do this before this time. Make sure you do it before this time. And like I said, after this time, this link would disappear, so you're not going to be able to upload this. Click on Browse the computer, navigate where it's at, where you're at with it, and you click on Submit. That's how you submit it to me electronically. Everybody gets one submission. Please get it right for me, please, and don't use any other formats besides this right now that I gave you. DOCX is the Word document with it as well. Now let me get back to the lab exercise with it. I want to talk to you about how to get in here and complete this, and I want to start you off in this lab, and you can finish the rest in this thing as well with it. So once you're in this directory, I had you download the flowchart that I asked you to do. This is worth 10 points. So here we are in this Word document that I have, and go through this, read through this exercise with it. I'm not gonna, like I said, I gave really explicit instruction how things are done with it. So there are 5 tips I highly recommend you follow with the flowcharts with it. So please follow my guidelines with it and how things are broken down, shapes and flowcharts and all the stuff with it. So in the first example I gave you, I asked you to give me a printout from 1 to 20. There are 2 things that's going on here. One is the algorithm, and the other one's a flowchart. Algorithms are stepwise, 1, 2, 3, 4 cookbook type of steps. That's in English. So to do, if you want to output from 1 to 20, where do you start? Well, you got to, let's say you have to initialize the memory of x is equal to 0, and then you start adding 1 to this x, and then you output the x, and then you test it until it gets to 20 and actually goes back to step 2 if it's not 20 yet. So again, actually you start out with what? 0, and you end up with 19, which is the last value, right? So I just took this algorithm here and I converted it to a flowchart, and I show you this by doing start, which is the start, initialize. I know in my instruction I recommend you doing it the right to left, but that's okay. I'm bringing out paper, so that's why I have this thing going downward as well. I'm okay with either left to right or top down. It's fine. Initialize it to 0, less x and 0 with it. That's step number 1. You're going to increment x by 1 to it. You're going to basically add 1 to the x and update the x to it. And then you're going to, so if I did this on the side to show you what actually takes place over here, let me show you this on the side over here. Let's say I went over here I'm going to show you something that is, I'm going to insert in a table. This is what's called a hand trace table. You don't see this yet with it. But let's say I have a hand trace table on this thing right now, okay? And I said I gave it a memory of X. I'm just aligning all this thing right now with it. This is X. So X starts out with 0, basically, right? And then I add increment X to it. So the way how you want to increment X to this thing is I'm going to do X equal to X plus 1. Now, if you did your reading, you're going to notice that the equal sign means the right side equals to the left side. Meaning this expression here, add together, is going to update the ones to the left. So if X is 0, 0 plus 1 is going to update the X. So this X right now is going to become 1, right? So that's how I need to update that. So I need to strike through that. And then now X, I plug X1 in here, add 1 to it, X becomes 2. And then I have to strike out this right here. So this goes on until when? Until, I'm just going to say dot, until I get to number 19. All right. What happens when I get to 19? 19 plus 1 is what? Is 20, right? So 20 is now updated to inside the 20. Now it changes to 20, and this again gets strike through with this. Now X does change, is updated to 20 with it as well, but it never gets printed. That's my point. So you will get an output, basically, you will have an output that's X that is 20 coming out with it, right? But in the memory, it actually ends basically is at 19 with it. So once you get all of this output with it to the output with it, and you have to actually show that there is X less than 20. If it's yes, you loop back here with it. If you notice, my step number 4 says if X is less than 20, go back to step number 2 with it. And from 2 to 4, it loops back until X exceeds 20, and that becomes false. That's when you exit. So this is a first example with it. That's what I meant to say with it. The second one, what I like for you to see is I gave you the algorithm. Now, I would like for you to come in and use this algorithm and write your code with this, or write your flowchart with this thing. Same thing you have to start out with is I'm going to do insert. I'm going to come over here and do shapes. And I'm going to start with, let's do this basic shape of the circle right here. I'm just going to start over here to get some more spaces in here. Okay, so let's say I do this. I'm going to do start. It doesn't matter what color it is. I can always change this later on with it. So that's one with it. And then I'm going to need an arrow, right? Because I have to read in the temperature of Fahrenheit with it, right? Hold on for a minute. Let me check my time here. I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to actually do part 2 next, because it's about 8 minutes into this already.